Entitled brother informed me that he would be taking my dog for 3 days without my permission. For those of you who aren't familiar with my stories, I, 31F, have a man-child entitled brother, 26M, who lives in the house I co-own with my mom. My mom has told him he has until May 31st to move out. I've been anxiously waiting for him to leave, doing my best to bide my time, but I have finally reached the end of my rope, and for something that I'm not sure is the straw or the log that broke the camel's back. Last night while I was in bed, entitled bro informed me he would be taking my dog, Spot, for 3 days on some fishing trip. I told him there's no way he could do that. He said he wasn't asking, he was telling me. He said, he's my dog too, and that he is entitled to take him whenever he pleases. Here's the thing though. 9 years ago, entitled brother demanded a dog. I begged my mom not to. He had one previously, but he neglected it, and my mom ended up rehoming it, for which he never let her hear the end of. But of course she caved, and the same problem persisted. Entitled bro never cared for Spot. I ended up taking over his care, paid for his vet bills, fed him, took him to get groomed, etc. Things came to a head when we had to move in with family members, and they said we were not allowed to bring a dog. Entitled bro didn't do anything to find Spot a new home. It was my problem. I found him a foster home, where I visited him every day after my college classes ended, and was able to get him back 2 years later when we finally had a place to live again. Additionally, when I moved out of my house for a year, Spot went with me. Spot sleeps with me every night and has my name on all of his records. He's now 10 and has arthritis. He takes meds for his hips and his stomach and needs frequent bathroom breaks. Oh, and he hates the water. So when little bro said he wasn't asking me, he was telling me. I knew that Spot would be miserable and possibly in pain that whole trip. He hadn't asked or even mentioned taking Spot before, so he is due for a refill on his pills tomorrow. Had I known, I would have gotten the refill sooner. I tried telling him Spot needs a lot of care, and he said, "Yeah, so just give me everything he needs," and I was so irritated. "You wait until the night before to tell me this?" Then he said something that made my blood run cold. "I could have just taken him and let you panic, but I was being nice telling you ahead of time." That did it. I don't know why, but every alarm bell went off in my head. I grabbed my purse, put on my slippers, and told Spot to get in the car. I drove to my fiance's house and slept here last night. I was going to move into fiance's house this summer, but now I'm asking myself why the hell I'm waiting. Everyone on Reddit keeps asking me why I stay home, and right now I can't remember any of the reasons I had before. I'm done. My mom is staying out of it right now, and I'm glad because I genuinely don't care what she has to say. I know she doesn't want me to go, but I just can't take entitled bro's little power trips. He can do whatever he wants to the house, punching holes in the walls, kicking the appliances, calling the house a dump. But I draw the line at him taking my dog without my permission. That's my baby, and I'm not going to just stand by while he does whatever he wants with my pet when I explicitly told him no, something that he rarely hears. P.S. I occasionally have asked bro to let Spot out for bathroom breaks since he doesn't work until the afternoon, and his response is always he's too busy to do that. He has given me no reason to trust him to care for my dog for even a few hours, let alone 3 days on a fishing trip. Edit. Brother does not know where fiancé lives, and even if he did, fiancé's 2 huge German shepherds would devour him. Update. First of all, I would like to thank everyone for all of their support, well wishes, and for reaching out to check on me and Spot. It was such a relief to know that so many of you would have had the same instinctual reaction to my situation. After many months, I finally have an update for you all. 1. Entitled bro has finally moved out. However, he didn't move out until the end of July. He was supposed to move out by May 31st, but my mother allowed him to push the date back twice. I was not pleased, but since I moved out abruptly in April, I couldn't let myself get worked up over it. I was focusing on making a safe space for Spot and myself. 2. Since entitled bro has moved out, my mother has made the house her own, and I am proud to say it is finally everything she envisioned it to be. The house looks immaculate now that entitled bro isn't crowding her space. She is very proud of all of her home improvement projects and always has something new that she wants to show me when I visit. She seems so happy. The only thing that concerns me is how uncharacteristically friendly entitled bro has been acting with her since he moved out. More on that later. 3. Spot is doing so much better since we went to live with my fiancé and his 2 German shepherds. I think fiance's dogs understood that Spot is older and not quite as athletic as them, but that didn't stop him from trying to keep up with them. After moving in, Spot's favorite pastimes include running around the huge yard, laying in the sun, and eating the little tasty nuggets that the chickens leave in the yard. Yes, I mean chicken poop. 4. If you have read this far and are wondering what took me so long to update, I do apologize for the delay, but I have a good reason. My fiancé and I bought our first home. We fell in love with a tiny little house in our ideal area and had been working on renovating it. I am very pleased to announce that we moved in last month, and if that wasn't good enough news for you, here is the biggest announcement of all. We got married. After all the hard work we put into the house, we knew it was the perfect place for us to tie the knot. We invited his dad, his siblings, and my mom over, and we had a quick ceremony in our living room amongst unpacked boxes and mix-matched furniture. It was perfect, but this wouldn't be an entitled people post without some entitled bro stories. Here are some of the highlights, for lack of a better term, of what I've dealt with since my last post. For the 3-4 weeks after I moved out, entitled bro would not stop asking, "Where's Spot? Where's my dog?" over and over. I just ignored him, but while I was silent, he said a lot of very revealing things such as, "I bet you won't bring Spot back because you're afraid I'll do the same thing to you," meaning taking off with Spot. I wanted to point out the whole reason I felt the need to remove Spot was because he threatened to take my dog without my permission, but I didn't waste my breath. At one point, he got so worked up that he said, "Fine, don't tell me where Spot is, I'll find out," which only solidified my confidence that I made the right choice. A couple of months ago, he had information that I needed in order to help our aunt with a task. My aunt asked him to please send me the info so I could complete the task for her. He said he would, but never sent me anything, despite how many times she reminded him. It got to the point where the deadline was getting close, so I had to call and text him multiple times. He refused to give me anything, saying I needed to apologize for being so rude because I had the audacity to ask him for the info. I decided to act fed up and told him, "Forget it, someone else can do it." I then asked my cousin Molly to text him, saying she was the one to contact instead. He sent the info to her instantly, and I had Molly forward the info to me. The look on his face when he later found out I was the one who took care of everything for my aunt was priceless. He enjoys having things to hold over my head. The final thing I will mention is entitled Bro was a nightmare for my mother until the day he moved out. He went through waves of giving my mom the silent treatment, then angrily hounding her for ruining his life, to having personal pity parties and saying things like he was so depressed and he didn't want to live anymore. My mom got so fed up that by his moving out day, she had no pity for him anymore, just secondhand embarrassment. But then he did something very strange. He was literally in the middle of yelling at her and blaming her for all of his shortcomings when he suddenly broke down and cried, saying he was so sorry for what he put her through. All he wants is to be loved by his mom and sister, and asking, "What would you do if I killed myself?" My mom said she thought it was a miracle from God, and I tried to gently ask her if it wasn't more likely that it was just a manipulation tactic. She said she is choosing to believe that this is a sign that her son is finally changing for the better. I find it very hard to believe. So now he acts as if he was never the hellspawn that plagued our home for 8 years. My mom is so happy because she thinks that now her son is reformed. I think it's more likely that he is just trying to stay in her good graces because he wants to use her as a safety net. My mom claims she would never take him back in unless it was a true emergency, but I don't know about that. That is the only thing about entitled Bro that makes me uneasy to this day. Other than that, I have no interest in dealing with him and will not be including him in anything. He does not have my address, and my relatives know not to share it with him. Although I have had to deal with a lot of drama these past few months, I am so relieved that I left that tumultuous home life when I did. If I hadn't, I wouldn't have a safe space for myself or Spot. I wouldn't finally have a home of my own with someone who loves me completely, and I wouldn't have married the sweetest, most supportive man I've ever met. I am so grateful to be able to write this happy update on my couch in my home with my husband at my side, and my sweet Spot laying his head in my lap. Thank you again for being here for me and for waiting so patiently for an update. I hope it was worth the wait. Thank you. Well, this is the end of this story. If you loved this story, please like this video. and subscribe to our channel for more such videos. Good luck and goodbye.